Okay, so today's problem, we've got a toaster that's using 120 volts. Now remember what voltage is? That's how much energy there is per packet of charge. It's joules per coulomb of charge. It's the amount of charge that goes through the toaster. Each one of those coulombs delivers 120 volts, 120 joules, I'm sorry. And this is how much how much energy is being delivered to the toast, okay, every second. 1,500 joules of energy every second is being delivered to the bagel, I guess I put in here. So we want to know how much current is flowing and how much resistance does the toaster have. And you put in a bagel for 3 minutes. How many kilowatt hours of energy was consumed? So let's zoom out a little bit and get this done. So the way we do this, let's do given. And so we've got a toaster, and well, we've got some kind of power supply here, but we've got the voltage is 120 volts. The power is equal to 1,500 watts. So what are we trying to find? Okay, for part A, we want to know what the current is. For part B, we want to know what is the resistance. And for part C, well, I'm going to put, the amount of time that the toaster is doing its job is 3 minutes. So I want the energy used, and we'll use capital E for energy, is used if the toaster is working for 3 minutes. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. It's really getting washed out there. I don't know why. Try this. All right. Well, anyway, let's solve it. Well, we need the relationship between power and voltage and current in order to solve for current. And so for part A, that is power equals current times voltage, which also spells pi. I wonder if let me try this. Does that work better? I don't know why it's so shiny. Yeah. Try to turn that off. Well, I guess that's a little better. Not much. Okay, so anyway, that means we're going to solve for I. So I, the current, is equal to the power divided by the voltage. So that's 1,500 watts divided by 120 volts. And when you do the division, the current turns out to be 12.5 amps. And things like toasters, they pull a lot of amps. By the way, watt, let's take a look at the units here. A watt is a joule per second, and a volt is a joule per coulomb. And if you divide a joule per second by a joule per coulomb, the joules cancel and these reciprocate. You get a coulomb per second, and a coulomb per second is an amp. And I know a lot of you are in chemistry right now. Most of you are in chemistry, and I've been seeing you do all these unit conversions and stuff. I know how much Brian likes that stuff. So it's the same thing in here. Now for part B, we know that E equals IR. That's Ohm's law. And that's the relationship we use to solve for R. So the resistance will be the voltage divided by the current amps. A volt per amp is defined to be an ohm. So 120 divided by, and you get 9.6 ohms. So there's my resistance. Now for part C, we want to know how much energy there is. Well, energy is equal to power times time. So the energy, the power is 1,500 watts times 3 minutes. Okay, well, you'll get watt minutes here, and by the way, a watt minute is a unit of energy, but we want it in kilowatt hours. So let's change the units here. I got to start over here to make more room. What is 1,500 watts in kilowatts? You don't even need a calculator for this. A kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So how many thousands of watts do we have here? 1.5. So this is 1.5 kilowatts. So that one's pretty easy. Now what about the 3 minutes? That takes a little bit more work here. 3 minutes. Now we want it to be in kilowatt hours, so we've got to change the minutes to hours. So there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So we have 1.5 times 3 divided by 60. And we get the amount of energy is like 0.075 or 75 thousandths of a kilowatt hour. So that's really not going to cost very much, because a kilowatt hour, let's say on average, a kilowatt hour is about 30 cents, the last kilowatt hour you pay for. So if you said, and I didn't ask for this, but if you want to know how much it costs to toast a bagel, you know it's $0.3 per kilowatt hour, but we only used 0.075 kilowatt hours here. So 0.3 times 0.075 equals 0.0225, or about 2 cents. So when you toast that bagel, it costs a little over 2 cents to toast it. Unless you have solar panels on your house and you're paying, baseline rate, and it's probably going to be about half or a little or less than half of that, so it's about a penny. So energy is pretty cheap, actually, but we use a lot of it. That's why it gets expensive. Anyway, that's it.